is Marilyn Rodriguez, and I'm one of the student ambassadors for the USC Chan Division of Occupational Science and Occupational Therapy. Today, I'm super excited to be doing a different style vlog, talking about our experience with being waitlisted. I know some of you are in the process of applying. We just want to make sure that you are all encouraged and empowered and informed about just the different ways that we approach this particular situation, and hopefully you are continuing to be motivated about the process in general. So I'm going to have them introduce themselves.
Hi everyone, my name is Daniel. I'm a second year OT student.
Hi everyone, my name is Nicole Yoon. I'm also a second year student, and then hopefully this video can help you guys.
How did you feel when you found out you were waitlisted?
I was honestly pretty bummed out just because it's not a yes or a no. It's still this gray area of, am I going to get in later on? Am I not? Should I just take my time and, continue to work and apply elsewhere next year? Maybe you need to be waitlisted. Maybe you need to grow a little bit more in your patience and see what happens from there.
Yeah, for me, I think it was pretty similar. I think I was disappointed. Up to that point, I felt like I've done everything right. And to kind of get waitlisted, felt kind of like I wasn't good enough. But then I went back, talked to my mentors, and they told me being waitlisted wasn't the worst thing that could happen. So that kind of gave me a different perspective on getting that email, because I remember when I got it, kind of read it, was disappointed, closed it off, and I was already starting to think about maybe I'm not going to go there. So what am I going to do now? But they gave me a really good perspective on that, and then kind of like you said, learning to be patient and just kind of trusting that process really helped me with that.
I was actually really positive about it. I was actually very hopeful because to me it was not a yes or a no. So I felt like I maybe even got a toe in the door. And for me it was either USC or bust, and I had worked for a couple of years to perfect my application so that I could only get into USC. And so for me, I was like, okay, well, that's not a no. And so I spoke with, I think the director at the time, or director of admissions, and asked her what it really meant to clarify. And then, she was just saying you just have to work maybe a little harder. So I was like, okay, it's still 1 inch towards my step of becoming a USC OT. And so for me, it was really, I took it very positively. And I think a lot of that had to do with me kind of knowing my limitations, what made my application maybe apart, on certain things.
And what steps did you take when you found out you were waitlisted?
The first thing I did was I reached out to a current USC student at the time, and I asked her, what does this mean? What should I do? And she advised me that I email and keep in contact and stay in contact with the admissions team. Let them know that I really want this, because like I said, it doesn't mean no. And there's still a chance that they'll accept you so, for that year. So I spoke to her, and then she gave me really good advice. I see such a holistic application process. So I was like, trust the process. And I had hit the GRE requirements, but it wasn't the best, and I had been out of school for so long. So I knew that was something that I could strengthen. So I immediately signed up for the GRE to take it again. I had to take all my prerequisite classes again because time had passed. And I immediately started looking for any kind of therapy aid positions that increase my experiences so I can write about it. So that's what I did. And then I think I was checking my email every single day. I was in Texas at the time, shadowing at a hospital, and I think it's just showing them hey, I'm really serious about getting to USC now or later. So I was notified not too long after. So.
For me, similar to Nicole, I reached out to my CSUN team. It kind of just kept me sane, and I did. After that, I did reach out to admissions, and then 2 professors that I had connected with prior to applying to USC. Hey, this is me. I'm Daniel. I'm interested. Remember me from the info session. And then just keeping in touch with the people I met at those OT info sessions. That I think that really helped. Because then I don't know if they know like how much I wanted, but I wanted to show that to everyone.
Yeah.
So just staying positive, and so that was really helpful for me because they gave me also that like positive perspective of like just like stay with it, and it's not a no. Like don't close that door off. Like after that, I kept doing what I was doing. Like I have to work, I have to feed myself, I have to help my family out. So at the time I was working as a behavioral therapist. I was tutoring, and I was also working as a Lyft driver. So I had to do what I had to do to make some money and like finish my semester strong because I was still in school. So there was finals that were coming up and expenses for graduation too. So I had to think about those things. For me, it was similar to you. It was kind of USC or bust because of the way the OT programs are set up here in California. There's certain schools I couldn't apply until I graduated. Just would have to wait to apply in the next cycle. And I didn't do what you did though. I didn't keep looking at my email. I kind of just left it. And then this one day I was sitting at work actually in my research lab, and then I was like, oh wow, like I got in, which was, it kind of just happened. I wasn't checking.
I was checking so often just because, I mean, I had accepted the fact that I might have to wait another year, and I knew I had like a little pinky toe in the door. Yeah. But I didn't want to, I didn't want to wait at the same time. I was like, oh my gosh, I had spent like several years trying to perfect my application. So I want to get in, so I was just like, me. And I didn't have a job at the time because I had quit it so I could go shadow. And I was just like, that's all I was doing, refreshing my email. So you need to get in.
Initially, I probably took a couple of days just to process the email that I received. And then from there, I had to make this internal decision of whether or not I wanted to stay on the wait list or not. So I decided to just like have faith and like submit my email request saying, I want to stay on the wait list, and just kind of wait it out. And that hope and that optimism through that little inch of process was really helpful. And I would definitely catch myself like probably once a week checking my email, not every day. But I was, I wanted to make sure that I got in because that's where my dreams were, and that's everything that I had worked hard for. So knowing that I did get in later on was really encouraging and exciting. And I don't ever feel shame about being put on the wait list. I'm like, I was waitlisted, and I had to figure out my life in about a month, figure out books, living situation. Luckily, I was able to stay with my family, but I'm a waitlistee.
Nice.
No shame.
On that same token, what advice would you share with prospective students who apply to the program and that were waitlisted?
You want to take that one?
Let me think. It's people that are applying, right?
Yeah, and who were waitlisted. So like us.
Yeah.
It's the video. I'll find out at different points whether we were waitlisted, and then we also find out at different points throughout the whole the admissions process when we actually were admitted.
When I found out I was waitlisted, I feel like everything just came at me really fast. So I think it was the same as you. I found out February 28th, and then we had to send back the paperwork. And then after that, I didn't find out I got in until May 2nd. And from that, I know I'm getting in. Like, I'm gonna fill out the paperwork. I'm gonna send it back. And then after that, what are your financial options? Like, is it loans? Is it scholarships? Do you have some money saved up? And then after that, living situation. Like, are you gonna live at home? Are you gonna move out? Because if you find out in May, I think you have about a month or so, and then the program will start.
Feel what you need to feel in that moment, but also recognize that that's just like a small part of your whole life experience, right? And I felt that emotion, and then I kind of pivoted with what I really knew, who I was, and understanding like my worth too, and knowing every closed door is closed for a reason, and that's whether there'll be another door behind that door that will open, that it's supposed to be my path, or whether or not I just have to wait it out and see what else comes from that. If you're meant to be at USC, you'll be at USC. I can't tell like what my life would have been if I wouldn't have been in USC, but I do know that I still would have been fine. Stay strong. I am excited to hopefully see all of you. All of us potentially will see some of you when you come through those doors if you're taken off the wait list. But just know, like, everything happens for a reason, and don't stay in that funk for too long.
So I had been out of undergrad for a very long time. The biggest advice to the students incoming or people who are waitlisted is to take initiative. I didn't have kind of the motivation or the drive when I was younger, and like fresh out of college. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I definitely didn't want to go back to school at the time. So I just did what I wanted to do in my earlier 20s. And then that kind of drive came out later when I really discovered what I wanted to do, which was OT, and which was going to be at USC. At that point, you don't really have an academic support system.
Right.
You might have your family and friends to tell you, but you know, this is an academic change for me. And so really nobody's going to do it for you. You have to do it yourself, which is what really motivated me during like the 2-3 years that I took to apply and perfect my application for USC. So take initiative. Don't be afraid to do the heavy work. Go out, connect, but also on that note, be professional. Don't bombard, know kind of your limits. And I think my personal thing is like to be kind. A lot of times I think people they don't know your face, but a lot of your communication is done via email. Be kind, be professional, be courteous. And I think also at the end of the day is to be humble. Just because you're not above anything. If you have to start at the bottom to get to becoming an OT, then that's what you have to do.
Nice. If we could summarize your experience in a word or a phrase, what would it be? Entire process. So from getting waitlisted to
now
where you are now.
One word
or phrase.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back to in 9th grade. We had to do this assignment. Where we had to write like our life motto on a bumper sticker, and then our English teacher would put it up on the wall. And so I wrote, "You can do it. Put your back into it." A lot of people didn't understand it, but that was my thing. That was in 9th grade. That's what I would say. You can do it. Put your back into it.
For me, I don't know if I have a specific phrase, but I would say just keep pushing. That's kind of been my motto since I can't remember. A lot of times in my life and education personally, I felt a lot of doors like closing. Always just kind of reminding myself, you got to keep pushing. And I think it comes from my parents that no matter what they're going through, they get up every morning and they go to work. So the least I could do is keep pushing at school. So whether it was the application process, whether it's a program, and now that we're kind of getting towards the end, I just keep pushing no matter what.
Mine will be make it happen. Okay. So make it happen, and when there are times that you can't feel genuinely that you can't make it happen, think about self-compassion and actually put that into practice. Like, give yourself some grace and kind of like dust yourself off and make it happen. And I just find that to be like my motto for most things when I'm jumping into something new, and actually do make it happen. Then that's just like the best part too, and getting to share it with people who are just awesome. And I'm grateful for these 2 awesome students who came on to share about our experience, and we're all in the same cohort too. So fight on cohort A, and fight on to those students who are applying. You guys got this. Bye.